All right, let's do this. With only 16 minutes of delay. Forgive me. Just gonna check my second screen. Do I have the sound? Am I working? All right, let's do
Yeah.
this. With only 16 minutes of delay. All right, here we go. My second screen. Do I have the sound? Am I working? No. Here we go. Okay, so 2 days. Okay, just gonna mute my second screen now. I can interact with the chat if I care to the thing. I'm starting a timer. You know me, my timers. I like to keep track of time because although it is an illusion, what we are doing today is a sort of self-contained little mini project, which is quite nice because going to get to do some structured programming because we want to decompose what our software program is going to be using subroutines. I think in this case they're more procedures than functions. What am I going to call this? This is the files, file structured P exceptions. It's called files and exceptions, but it's right after the chapter on. So this is because, okay, full disclosure, I set this piece of work to my year 12 A-level students, and I feel it's not really fair of me not to actually attempt it, right? And it's not really fun if I don't attempt it in front of the whole big interwebs. And the brief is just text, which I'm going to put at the front in between the triple quotes, which is a way of doing comments in Python, but using delimiters rather than prefixes. Is my Apple V not working? Sorry, I'm going to fish it out somewhere else. This is annoying. Sorry. Replit again. I need to be mindful of the. I can probably, yeah, because I'm only using a browser. And elsewhere, I'm actually going to go draw.io or diagrams.net. They end up in the same place. This is a really great flowchart maker and online diagram software, which is a free online diagram software, which you can use as a flowchart maker, a network diagram software to create UML online as an ER diagram tool. I know UML, I don't know EM. This is quite scary. Is JavaScript enabled? Is that not meant to be working? Nothing's working today. I'm cursed in terms of technology. Okay, I'll get this other REPL. Where was I? Oh yeah, I can do. Actually, this is what I should be doing. It. This is the solution of the REPL that I said to the students. Replit for education. No sponsorship, but it's pretty good. Um, yeah. Okay. Um, diagrams.net. Aha, very good. Download. Oh, you can download. Well, I'm just going to go online, and then this is where it bugs out. Okay, I know. Excellent. Decide later. I'm just going to throw it away anyway. I should have decided, to be fair. So this is the okay. That's the brief, right? The yeah, this one. Yeah, okay. A school needs a program to record match score match scores for 10 schools. So each school has a name, and each school can record a number of wins with values 0 to 20. So what I'm seeing here, I'm just going to put this now in Replit. You can kind of tile things around. Let's see. This means record is the name of the school, which is string, and the score, int, and then it has to be 0. I think when they say 0 to 20, that kind of means inclusive. So we're going to go 0 score 20. All right. So this is something we want to validate. So already this is, oh, there's 10 schools as well. File with 10 records. So that's a constraint. For putting it in digits, I need to put digits everywhere. Each school has a name, helpful. Each school can record a number of wins with value 0 to 20. The data needs to be stored permanently on drive C of the teacher's PC, which for us is going to be the folder where the main.py runs. We don't worry about that. the program should display a menu offering the following choices after branching to appropriate subroutines. For choices 1 or 2, redisplay the menu. Where appropriate, use range checks and exception handling to catch data entry errors. That's excellent. Okay, so that's the constraints, 10 records, which means that enter, we're gonna use definite iteration in that the user needs to enter the 10. Okay, so files and exceptions. Theme and variations. Okay, we just do a general, right? It's a rectangle, rounded rectangle, rectangle. Okay, we're going to have a main. So I'm going to call it let's just the main program that might run at the top of the code, but it's actually going to be a subroutine that I'm going to name, but let's call it the main. So from our main program, what we want is a number. So in Draw.io, what's really cool is that if you click the arrow, you can then create something that's connected to it. So that's for shapes, and then boom, it's connected. And then you can that didn't gonna work. The connectors, they're pretty cool because you can stick them to a specific side. There's like 3 points on each side. But also, if you leave it to drag it to the middle and release, this didn't work. That's annoying. Drag it to the middle of the release, and then this is now connected to this block from the shortest, the first connector, right? Or I may need to force it to be the down connector. In fact, so in that main function, I'm going to want to display the menu. You know what? I'm just going to paste. So I'm going to use snake case throughout, lowercase, underscore. That's all nice. That's what I learned. If I Control C, Control V, no, if I copy it, no, it doesn't attach it. So let's make a new one, another one that's connected below. And that's a rectangle. So we display the menu. This does nothing. We pass nothing to it. It's just display the menu and then wait. And then we go back here and we kind of do something else, which is going to be get user choice, read user choice, let user choose, right? Read user choice. Feels a bit verbose, but that will do for the moment. Sure, here we pass nothing to it, but it returns. So this is where I need kind of like another arrow. Yeah, which I can do like this. And this one returns. Right click. Ooh, line. I want a straight line. And I also want straight lines throughout. I didn't know I had a right mouse button contextual menu on Draw.io on was it Chrome? Wasn't expecting that at all. And here, I think if you get something connected, right? If I get the arrow selected, I can type straight into it, and this will give me some text around the arrow, which I feel like I'm not framed right. Which is going to be, so this is the selection, right? So this is going to return a number. We guarantee it's a number, and we guarantee it's a number between 1 and 3 inclusive because it's enter send new data, load and display data, quit. Okay, that's not looking as nice as I was hoping, but you kind of get the idea. Right, whatever. Then another one from the bottom again with a rectangle. That didn't work. From the bottom, sorry, you need to bottom. And then here, and then you drag this guy wherever you want. This guy, this rectangle, this gender neutral rectangle. We read the user choice, the user. Reduce choice, like Eat, Pray, Love. The user's choice, and then if it is 1, boom, we are going to enter and save new data, which is going to be, I'm going to make 2 of them. I think I'm going to, yeah, no, that will be in a single, I think it's going to be in a single function, but I'm going to be smart and I'm going to have a local variable in my function to store the data and then write it to the file in one go, so I do not leave my file handle open whilst I get user input, which is very considered harmful, as we say in the industry. Oh, I've got more than, what's happening with my arrows? There we go, that's a bit better. A bit better though. Yeah, okay. Happy with that. Enter and save. Now that should return. Now we are not. This is right. What I'm reading here is that, to be fair, oh, sorry, a number of wins. Oh, okay. And 1 to inf, technically, scores. Each, uh, each of those is okay. So we get kind of cardinality here, which means this is interesting. Enter and save new data. I'm reading this as I'm reading this as load and display. Fair enough. We read the whole file. We display the whole file. We just focus on that first. But enter and save. Let's kind of do that level of the decomposition of the hierarchy. No. This creates arrows as well. So this kind of arrow can do a whole bunch of stuff. This is how I get my extra arrows from the arrow. Right click. It's line style line. No one is watching. Oh no, there's a problem with the server. Right click line, straight line, and then this one is read. Is it read and display? Load and display. Yeah, save load. Right, does the mirror thing. Load. Right. They don't really return anything. Enter and save. So everything's going to happen here. In enter and save, this is where. Well, let's decompose. This might mean the same. We're not going to necessarily thinking of functions. We're trying to decompose the problem. No. Okay. I'll do what I would do in real life. This is a kind of sketch. So I could have done this straight in Replit, but it's nice to do a little bit of a draw tutorial. Sorry, diagrams.net, diagrams.draw.io. I don't understand that thing. But yeah, are we even? Yeah, I'm probably not going to save it somewhere. I've got a screenshot. That's quite enough. I'm going to need, forgive me, fade it so you can see my desktop, so I can just ping my students to say, hey, folks, ladies and gentlemen, I am live and direct for one evening only. I don't know where my Chrome window is. Okay. That's because I'm in full screen. Okay, I didn't understand where was the desktop I was looking for. Right. Let me give them the. How do I give them the link? Share? Yes. Copy this, and then that. Okay, I see where I am on my. I've got like 7 desktops or something. It's just a bit weird. And go to here, and up. Yeah, I should have given them a bit of notice, but who kind of like blocks for 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon slot to watch their computer science teacher do a live stream of coding. Okay, so that's Draw.io. Let's go to actual code. Right. So now about the main, there's a way of doing this which I keep forgetting. Python main. So in Python, this is a structured programming thing. What's the name equal name? Oh, built-in is main function as So if you want a script that's run in a script, so if you run something as a script, the code that isn't that has this in the global namespace in the file will just run. However, you may want to not necessarily run it on its own, but importing into another package or module. Package is the Python term, and then run whatever was in the main, whatever's the main bit program of this file, but run it as package dot and run it something. So the idea here is that if name equal main, this is to say if name. I'm not super sure. They want an isMain on discuss. Yeah, isName equal main. That's the design pattern. You see that everywhere. Yeah, they'll explain to you. The first time you see it, which we would have seen that in the Morse code stuff I was doing the other day, last week. And so, yeah, it's underscore name underscore. That's a reserved, shout into the void. That's a reserved word. So what this does going to do, bigger, and then collapse. Let's say we have a file, right? I'm going to say data.csv actually, because it's a comma separated file. In here, let's say school of town, right? And they got 5 and 10, because why not, right? And maybe a new line at the end of the file. I'll play it by ear. Okay, zoom back because I've zoomed too much. So it's if underscore name underscore equal, and it's main in between quotes. Oh, yeah, has a string. Oh, underscore main underscore. You see, I don't really use that very often. It's a weird thing because most of the time it's either a package that you import and you run the stuff, or a script. This kind of stuff is a bit niche. Typically found in education. So if the name is main, it says if we are running the file, clicking run. So let's say if I do print hello. Oh no, this I need to kill the other program. Let's do that a little quick. Nope, didn't see that. What am I? Oh, this is my desktop. Okay, so I'm here. Yes, the Huberman podcast about music and motivation. Run this. Right? It did print the hello because we run it. Well, and so we know that in that code block the name is main. So instead of that, we're going to call a new function. So there's going to be the score management system, right? So score def program score. Okay, score management program. Meaningful names, right? But at the same time, a bit verbose. Takes no argument, and this is where the magic is going to happen. So pass, right? And so if I am in the main, so if the script is running, I'm going to call score management program bracket, so you don't forget, right? To this. In here, there's definitely going to be so the user choice doesn't get passed on anywhere else, right? It gets fed back from this function. Well, let's kind of outline those as well. So we get like load and display to BD. So def load and display takes no argument, pass. We're gonna have def enter and save. Also takes no argument, pass. We take the argument the file name, but whatever, right? The main is this stuff. So let me actually, okay, copy this to here, because this is, you sketch the function, right? You kind of write in English what it should be doing in the order it should be doing. It English site pseudocode, right? English is pseudocode. And okay, the main is done. We want the get, that's the one, right? So def get user choice takes nothing, but it will return something. So pass, but technically return, well, it doesn't, I think it doesn't like the pass. So I know it's an indentation problem, forgive me. Those two lines, you can select more than one line, press tab, you indent them both. Everyone's very happy. Well, very, don't know about very. And then def display menu and then pass. Okay, so that is, the code does nothing, but it runs. It has run. You can't tell, but the whole thing's important, it's run it. And if I say load, right, the functions have been imported. I can do load and this, I can't. Or am I tapping caps lock? I'm not in Python. the console sometimes just like you kind of leaves you out of Python for some reason. I think that's because I've got this. It doesn't kind of leave the thing running. It just runs it and exits. Fair enough. Anyway, that's not very meaningful to the exercise. Okay, so we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions that we're going to be using. Let's start. I've created a dummy file. I've created a file. It doesn't, I mean, the enter and save new data, if you're using the main write mode, it will create the file. If it doesn't exist, that's fine. It seems like, because at no point does it say, ah, uh, you know, uh, permanently on the drive C of the PC, it doesn't say that the user needs to control the file name. So right here, I'm going to say file name equals, and this is a string, data.csv. It's actually even the file path, because if there's no full path with slashes, you can have like subdirectories. You can create folders in Replit, right? It's a normal file system. That's going to be, look for the thing called this right next to where the main is running. So that's data.csv. Display menu should display, right, print. I mean, you know what, I'm not even going to bother with like having several prints. Oh, this is, those are bullets. No, that's not right. Okay, 1, enter and save new data. 2, load and display data. And then 3. Now, unlike Morse code, well, let's see if that works to start with. So that doesn't work because score management program doesn't display the menu. Let's make score management program display the menu. Display, poof, autocomplete, bracket. Remember, we need to call it, not to just say it. And then I have my menu. Very good. Now, the good news about, let's get into the meat of it. That's the user choice. This is where we have to do input validation. So choice is equal to, no, is equal to none, right? And then while not choice. So we can string them in Python like we do in maths, right? Like while not, but I might want to put like a bunch of brackets. That should work. That should work with the brackets, but a bit of safe. That's sorry, you never know. 20. Choice is equal to int input. Should it say, well, input bracket your choice, or yeah, something like this. Why is this so wiggly? You attend to the wiggly, right? Because that means it's not going to run. Okay, I want to put it something invalid, so let's put it -1, so we go into that while. And as long as it's not in that range, we keep asking. Display menu, and we're going to say choice. Now this is a variable local to this procedure, to this subroutine, and the choice is equal to whatever is get back from get user choice, which in that case is actually a function because it returns something. It's defined, but I'm not using it. That's fine, obviously not using it yet. And then I'm going to have if, I'm going to have, well, okay, if choice. Now this comes back as an int. Because the casting to an int has been done here, right? Because we're going to use we need to be an integer so we can validate it, and it's not 0 and 20. Actually, I'm talking rubbish. It's So actually, there's only 3 choices. So I will simply do choice not in, and explicitly say 1, 2, 3. So I'm thinking of the scores, and then initialize that 0 because why not? Okay, I display the menu, I get the user choice, and if the choice, let's not do that yet, right? Let's just see if that runs. Because if we build it in bits, so what's my choice? Is it 1? So is it 4? What's my choice? Is it 0? What's my choice? Is it foo? Boom, that's gonna break. Cool. Let's just see that it kind of 1 falls down, falls down the bottom of the program, as it were. Don't need the pass here because I'm starting to have some code. Don't need the pass there because also I have some code. Now let's go back to, we can't go back to it, but you've noticed that this will do input validation with the right kind of invalid data. So but anything that can't be cast to an int will throw this problem. It's a value error. Whereas, let's see if I can, I think if I put some text to, and it's a value error as well. This is the type of exception that is being raised by specifically the int function that cannot interpret the string that was given to it as an integer. So what we're going to do, this is where it's files and exception. In fact, it's probably exceptions before files. We're going to try. So we're trying doing this, and we accept. So except to say, if I have a value error, why is that not indenting on its own? If I have a value, and only a value error, right? If there's another type of exception like the computer is on fire, then this will error normally. Except value error. So if this is a value error, I'm simply going to do continue. This doesn't break out of the loop. This just means continue to the next one. In fact, I don't even need it because I'm not doing anything below, right? So, but this is just to say I'm catching the value error. So let's say continue. You could also put a pass in there, I think. I don't think the parser will accept a blank bit of code, but except if we catch the exception, catch, normally in other languages, it's a try catch pattern. So instead of accept, it's called catch. So exceptions are raised or thrown, and they're caught. So here we only catching value errors with our catches mits, and then if we have value error, we just continue to the next loop. Let's run it. Okay, foo. Boom, it asks again, 45.8, it asks again, 0, it asks again, 3, it quits, which is exactly the thing we wanted to do. So we just need to handle 1 and 2. So let's go back here, command / will uncomment and comment. If the choice is equal to 1, colon, pass. And if the choice is equal to 2, colon, pass. And if the choice is equal to 3, print, goodbye. And then now this needs to be in a loop. This is what they told us, actually. This was the whole thing. So while we're just going to do while we don't have to do an elif because we're going to cater for the case where the user has chosen 3. So while choice as an int, like the user choice, is exclamation equal, not equal to 3, colon, then we display the menu, we get the user choice, and then we kind of do the 2 conditionals. Now, the problem here is that choice is not defined by the time I have it's unbound. It knows no bounds, so we're just going to say choice equal none, or or false, or 2, or not, whatever, something that isn't 3, so that we go into that while loop. Let's try it. 1, it will do the thing and then loop again. 2, we loop again. It's kind of not visible, but I've looped a couple of times. 1, 2, etc. 3. Interesting. Okay, so let's debug. What's going on here? Combine if branches. Well, it's not the same branch, it's not the same path, so it's trying to be helpful because you see the same code. But if I say ... here, because now it's different code, it's like, yeah. But you're right. You shouldn't do a if, then this, and then have the same then block under a different if. You say if this or that, then display it once. Don't repeat yourself. Try. So let's put a breakpoint here before we start testing the choice and what comes back from it, and then run it. Okay, 1. Oh, sorry. Stop it. Menu, debugger, and then run it from the debugger, and then collapse the menu so we get more space. Cool. My choice is, well, have we hit the breakpoint just yet? Oh, sorry, no, we're about to hit the breakpoint. Choice one, boom, variables. Choice is none. Have I forgotten to return? I've forgotten to return. Okay, so outside the while, meaning once we are happy that we have validated input, if we come out of the loop, we have a valid thing, we return choice. I thought this was weird. Okay, it happens. At least that's the thing. when I encountered this, I knew what it was. You could have been looking for a long time if you get less. It's comes with experience. So you get to make the mistakes to recognize the mistakes. One loops around, two loops around, three, goodbye. We're not saying goodbye anymore. I know we're not saying goodbye because, okay, so let's put a goodbye just to kind of the user just to acknowledge the choice of free, right? From the point of view of the teacher, I suppose that's going to look at your program or might just run it. Goodbye. Okay. Let's remove the breakpoints. Right. So we've done half an hour in. We have done everything but the stuff that involves the files. Right. I'm going to start with load and display because it's simpler because there's no user input and user input is fiddly because we're going to need to kind of like potentially put an unlimited number of schools. I don't always think about 10 schools. I'm not. For 10 schools. Each school has an name. Each school can record a number of wins with value 0 to 20. So the assumption here is that in enter and save, we assume the user enters all 10 schools. Right? So the user has no way of kind of stopping in the middle of the 10. However, ooh, nightmare. This is such a poorly defined problem, actually. For reasons that will become clear in a second. However, the user should be able to enter as many scores as they want. So we're going to need to have a special thing that the users say I'm finished with that, move on to the next school. And that special thing may very well be the name of the next school, if you want the next school, if you want to be quite cool about it. But here we're just going to say data. Okay. Okay, so this is files. I've got another video on my channel called Lord of the Files. F equal open. You open the file. You open the file. You give the path. So it's file. I've got 4 viewers, and I don't know. I think the live chat is broken. Oh no. Okay. Those are, I think, the young ones. I think it's not exactly the target audience. The file name. Sorry, open text, so it's going to tell you, right? Use the context. What? Yeah, no, that's ignore this because it's a very like cool Pythonic context manager thing. But open is written like, come on, find references. Oh, I guess no, find references not in the code, but like online. Oh yeah, file description, file path. Show me the. Okay, Python. You can go to the official documentation. It's a bit dry. I'm just going to Google file open. The first thing that comes up for this kind of stuff usually is W3 School or Geeks for Geeks. Those are 4 modes. It's 1 character modes, read, append, and then you've got an extra thing for text or binary. So that's in the same string, right? So you'd be like R, T. By default, R means RT. So here, that's the reading of the file, it's an R. So you open it. If you don't specify, it's by default reading and text, which is what we want, but we're going to make it explicit. Then you get a file handle, and then, not on the server, okay, and then you read line or read lines. So file read lines, this is a file. This is a method, so a function you access by dot notation. We're going to see that when we do object-oriented programming. That will, once you get your file handler in a variable, you call dot read lines on it, and it will kind of read the lines. And you can. This is an example of a print, and then thing. So this will return a list containing each line in the file as a list item. That's pretty good. Now, if you want to do it the old school way, you would go do read line singular, and you like while I've not hit the end of the file. So that's F read line. Each file has a cursor, right? So you're in the middle of the file and you read up until the cursor. So the file handle will remember where it is, where the cursor is in the file, and then when you call read line, it will kind of give you the next file. In that instance, we kind of don't want to do anything that fancy or anything dynamic. We're reading the whole file in one go. I want to keep this short. I'm not gonna lie. So actually, I'm going to use read lines. So let's do this now. So we'll open it in read text RT. Not the Russian channel, but not this. I want some more light like this. And then we're going to do data is equal to imaginative variable name is equal to f dot read lines, and then I'm going to put, I could say print data, but actually I'm going to put a breakpoint before that print anyway. Yeah, we can ignore this one. This is an orange one. Put a breakpoint before it, run the debugger, and run it. Right. Choice, load and display. Didn't work because of course I need to call load and display when I make the choice at the menu level. So it's 2, right? Put it here, run it again. No, not like that. Sorry, run it again from here. Okay, load and display. And lo and behold, all right, that's my list. Now I only have one line, although I have a new line at the end of the file. In fact, I have the new line at the end of the line. So what happens is that this looks like an empty line, but really the file ends after the carriage return character there. So that one line is here. So let's do some more. Saint Beaujolais. Now they're icing it with 2020, 2020, and then we have the Acton Academy. No, let's not say it anyway. The Ax. It's annoying because I want to like do really clever puns about school names, and I can't think of anything on the fly, and so that's why I'm struggling a little bit. Okay, we've got 3 lines, and each will have a. Well, let's not put a new line at the end of the last one, so we'll see the difference. Now let's stop this and run it again from the debugger. And then we're going to go here and do choice 2 again. Okay. Now, here, look at this. This list, right, this is a list of 3 elements. Some of them actually have not been consistent with my spacing, right? Some of them will have spaces, some of them will have just properly comma separated. You would have some leading, trailing spaces. I might add some stripping, as in stripping not your clothes, but like you strip paint, like removing spaces. It's a technical term. Or spaces are all white space, like the line break, new line character. We're going to get rid of that as well because we don't want this in our data. But at the moment, let's assume we have a healthy file because this is how it will be written by our enter and write functions, because we're not going to put any old space in the file. But this one doesn't have the new line, right? And we can see that. So we can in fact run the debugger again so that we can see that after I've changed the data CSV. Okay, choices 2. And in here, my data is, sorry, it's here. School of Town 510, right? It doesn't have the new line. So it doesn't really matter whether we may or may not have a new line in this line, but we're going to need to do that. So, and, well, they're not being precious about how to display it. For, why not, line in data, because each element of the list data is a line of the file. And then for your comma separated, this is the thing. So let's right. Let's say I've got a string that looks like this. Looks, comma, like, comma, this. Cool. Well, yeah, not very helpful. A equals more S. S equals looks like this, right? I can do, I believe it is, I can split the string, but it's a bit counterintuitive because you define the character on that you want to use for split, and then you dot split, and then you pass the string S. Now this is because the splitting is a method of all strings technically, and you kind of pass it there. Oh, it's the other way around actually. No, so is it? No, actually it's the right way around. Then it's a split bracket. Oh, I'm thinking of join. I'm thinking of join because in join you do not have the single thing that you can dot. So you'll get it. You'll see it. I'll show you in a second maybe. So we split this one. We split by commas, and this will look like this. Looks like this, right? So for line in data. Now this is a single string. Line is a string, right? Line is a string. We're going to do line dot split. Well, we can put it somewhere, right? So what is called line? Record, there it is equal to line dot split bracket quote comma quote close bracket records. Those are the records in the line, and then we are going to print and I'm going to go for field in records colon print field and equal yeah, that's just I could have make it fancier and have the name of the school, but let's keep the fancy stuff for later. And so that means print, but at the end, instead of going by a new line, you're just going to give me, say, one space. So which means that all of the fields in the record are going to be printed one, separated by a space. This should I don't need to print data anymore, and this looks quite oh, sorry, read line. This is the thing I've forgotten. F dot close. That's the important part. The space between our opening and closing contains as few lines as possible. In that instance, just reading this to a data structure. And then what we do is we parse it, we data structure there. You do not want to be moving through a file, whilst you do the printing, and let alone whilst you're kind of asking the user for stuff, right? Like we have RAM, right? We have variables. Let's use them. Let's put the stuff and then separate, again, decompose. In fact, you can see that this is about going from the file to data, and this is displaying data. So really, I could have split this, you know what, to do refactor, which is when you don't change what your code does functionally, but you kind of make the insides better structured. Refactor to use two procs procedures, and in here I'm going to add like to do handle first field differently. So let's run it, and that was the easy part, right? Load and display data. Okay, School of Town 510, Saint-Beaujolais. Ah, yeah, it's a bit okay. And then to do lines after the first one. Don't know why though. We'll have interesting. I don't know why. A leading space that we don't want. But that's you've done two more or less, right? Like that's kind of that's good. We've read the file. So we assume the user enter all time school, but they can enter the score, but scores can vary. Well, not scores can, but like they can, but they're arbitrary. That's a good word. Arbitrary number of score fields. Right. Okay, let's do data is equal to an empty list. The empty list, right? There's only one empty list, just like there's only one empty set and only one empty string. And then we are going to do, so first up, populate, as in fill, the data array or list with user input. Then, yeah. And then write the data array. Oof, here's a little something as well. So here we also have another to do, handle exception. I'll be able to demo it because I can remove the file, and then we'll see that this is going to throw an exception and we need to be able to handle it. But again, the outline, you decompose, you don't go straight to writing code. It wasn't really my first programming teacher, because my first programming teacher was my dad, but the first programming teacher I had at university, which was like really undergrad, it was a general science undergrad, but it was a little bit of, you could pick, course. And he would talk of there's a age of the generation where they kind of like, they learned on punch cards and they will never let you forget it. But he used the phrase consolitis for the urge to type code rather than to just think ahead. Pen or paper or comments are even better because they're going to be next to your code, right? First, populate the data with the user input. So how are we going to be doing that? Let's do input. Is that Nah, input is a reserved word. So entry, I'm going to call it an entry because we do data entry. It starts with none. No, because we said we're gonna have 10 fields. So for underscore, we just want to repeat something 10 times in range 10. Don't care about. We're not going to use the number of our iteration. We just want something to happen 10 times, and then we say entry is equal to input. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. So the record I initialize to the empty string. The entry is the input. Oh man. School name. And then we can say record append entry. So far so good, right? But like we're building the record, and then while entry not while not while entry because 0 is valid, and then 20 from 21 onwards it's invalid, which means that negative number are valid. So while entry is positive, essentially, while entry is positive, we're going to repeat this. So let's say, yeah, we're going to cheat a little bit. Entry equal 1 or equal to 0, because 0 is valid, right? So we go into the loop once. Then I'm going to put a print in here, right? Print input scores. Yeah, there's 10 scores, but there's input scores, input all scores. Press then input all scores. Please input. You know what? Please input all scores. Semicolon. Enter. Enter. -1 to move on. To move to the next score. Boom. So while the entry is larger than 0, the entry becomes equal to the int cast to an int. Yeah, so there's actually several loops, right? Because this is the loop. This is the loop of entries of fields in my record as I build a record one by one. However, within that loop, let me retrieve the live chat. Sorry, just nothing's working. However, within this loop, we're gonna have our input validation loop. So, you know what? Okay, let's not do this. Let's do and equal false. That's good. That's better. Because the problem is that or reserve the stuff that will make us, move on to the next call could also be considered to be a bad character. So -1, I've kind of made my life complicated by using -1. Please enter stop in capitals. That way, to move on to the next call. If entry is larger to 0, no, while not end. So we're going to repeat until, and then move to the next call. Because I'm in the for loop, right? This is starting to get nested. While not end, we're going to say that entry is equal to -1. So this is where we initialize it as invalid. That's the design pattern. I refer you to my Lord of the Files video. And entry -1 and this is where while like we did for this, while just not 1 to 3. So while not entry, so that's while not 0. Then whilst it's not a valid one, we say entry becomes equal to cast to an int the input of, and then no prompt, right? Because we're just going to input them one by one, like, tack, one after the other, nothing. However, okay. I need to handle the end though. So this is where I also want to wrap this in a try. Now let's say string entry is equal to input. You'll see why later. And then int string entry. I'm separating this because I will want the original string, because if we find a value error, or if we catch a value error, it's value error, right? Name error is when the name is not type error, it's value, because the value is not the kind we can cast. Then if s entry, so yeah, of course, in terms of error message, right? This is where you would let's do nothing here, and then what you would do here is that if you no, I'm wrong. Just one thing at a time. I kind of want to display a message if we get something a wrong input. So let's see. If the s entry was actually equal to stop, which we decided is our stop string, then we are going to. So this is where we want to break out of this loop, but no, we do want to break out of this loop, and we actually want to send end to false, to true, because we've stopped. End equals true, and then we break, meaning that we're going to exit this while, even though entry is not valid anyway, right? And then we're going to, there's no anything below that, so we're going to come back here and not get into it because end will have become true. Else, you know what? I'm not going to put error messages. This because it makes the flow a little bit more complicated, and that's kind of not. This is not what this. Well, is this what I mean? Technically, this project is about more than files and exceptions, right? Because a lot of structured programming, etc. Right, and then so we have made, I believe. No, okay. So we just got entry. Sorry, we're doing this. That's input validation, right? So yeah, okay. So out of the input val while. I should have added input definition after. I'm sorry. In fact, they don't tell you. It's just that there was a good way of using an exception, right? Kind of try except block. So we out of the input validation while, which means we have a valid entry, which means we are going to append it to the record, but only. So there's the thing. Another way we can get out of the loop. No, because it's not a continue, it's a break. So we just exit out of the loop. So that's no. Yeah, it's a break. We just exit out of the loop. So we're fine. We guarantee to our entry that is a number between 0 and 20 inclusive. I'm happy. So now I've built the record, and wow, nightmare. So now we are out of the for loop. So this is inside the for loop. Sorry, we're not out of the. Now here, Shift Tab to de-indent. This is at the same level of the while loop, right? So this is out of the input validation. We've appended here, and which means that this is we're going to do that, and at the end of each. No. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, this needs to be here. This gives us valid entry. We append it to the record whilst we're not in the end. If we're the end, we break out of the loop, meaning that we're going to end up here. Meaning we're going to go to the next call, but first we need to append the record to the data. So data.append record. Data is a list of lists, because that's how we got it out of the file, so it makes sense to have this. And then here, I'm going to print data, but again, not really going to use it. I'm going to put a breakpoint into it. And, oh, this was running actually, it's interesting. I got a breakpoint 52, run it. Okay, load and display, and that loops me, fair enough. Enter and save. Didn't work because, again, didn't update my main function or my score management program to have here the if the choose equal to 1, we enter and save bracket bracket. Okay, we are back here. This was this guy, and we've not even written to the file, right? This is just getting it in, but yeah. All right, enter and save new data. School name is foo. Okay, the so those are going to be ignored with an error message, right? 234, those are getting ignored as well. Yeah, implementation with an error message is not very helpful. 20 is going to get in, 10 is going to get in, stop stop in lowercase is going, stop in uppercase keeps us going. And now, boom, breakpoint, we've hit the breakpoint. Foo is the name of school, we get 2, 20, 10, minus 1. Okay, that's interesting. 2, 20, 10, minus 1. Because so it seems to have gotten back in here and reappended that. So I've breaked out of this loop. Oh, so I'm breaking out of this loop, so I end up in here. And I don't want to append the entry because here it will have been minus 1 because by default it's not been overridden by the casting. So that's actually, I did want that this 1 minute. I only want to do that append the entry to the record if not end, right? Because if we are the last one, if put stop, we're going to append that minus 1. So that was useful running it and finding this bug. So let's run it again. 2 foo academy 1 2 oh okay, sorry. I went a bit too fast. I need to select 1. Yeah, select 1, and now I say foo academy. And let's go on to right. 1 2 0 3 4 minus 1 45.6. Stop in lowercase, stop in uppercase. Boom, we hit the breakpoint because we're out. And now my data contains foo academy 1 2 0 3 4, which are all the valid scores I have input. So the building of a record is complete. And now this is where it's going to be boring. But if I want to test it, okay, you know what? I'm just going to test it with like, I'm on a breakpoint. What's happening? Yes, okay, stop this. Very good. Remove the breakpoints. Remove it, no need of commenting that. Instead of 10, I'm just going to temporarily make, well, let's make that, let's not clickable. Whoa, why? What's happening? Okay, why you don't play nice with focus, Replit? Well, that's novel. Steam's launching. Must have clicked some link. Okay, so what I want to do is have another constant and call it n schools. And I'm going to make that equal to 2 for the time being. And here I'm going to say that we're going to using n schools. We're at the hour mark. I appreciate it is a tricky project, right? It's meant to keep you busy over the weekend. Well, keep them. To most of you, it's going to be them. But for a couple of them, it's going to be you. And I can only apologize. All right, load and display. We've done this one. The school name is Saint Farfeluche. And they have 120, 20, and then a 10, and then a 0, and then stop. I could have just entered the empty string to move to the next school. That's probably the best way. And then we have, blah, and then they're going to be like 1, 1, stop. Cool. That's helpful. I should have the breakpoint to kind of thing, but it's going to do it twice. It's going to do it 10 times. We've got it. Okay, let's leave it at twice and finish writing that. Now, okay, I'm not super hot with the files, not gonna lie, but you read the fine manual and Python file write line. There's bound to be a write line, right? Write line is either. There you go. There you go. So each line has a string, right? Yes, excellent. So just like they come out of read lines, because they come out of read line as a list of strings, then I think the split will kind of make the line break empty, but they come out as a list of strings. Whereas what we have in data is a list of lists, and this is where we need to convert this. Oh, I've just deleted the data type and record, and then okay, here I'm inside the function, but outside of the loop. Data. It's a list of lists, so it's a list of records. So each record is bracket records. Let's make my separator. Let's be fancy. Separator is equal to a comma to start with. And in fact, I'm going to also reuse it where I did the split, which was here. That's nifty. No wonder we had the error mark, because I don't separate the kind of core stuff from the like make it fancy stuff, because start fancy. Anyway, data is not populated. We only have to write it to the file. So how do I go from a list of lists to a list of strings? I need to turn each of the strings into a list. So I can do for record, different record. We are using the same variable. We don't same variable name. We're not using the value anymore for record in data. And I'm going to do separator dot join. This is amazing. Record. Right. And again, print. So well, that doesn't do anything because I say line. The line is equal to separator dot join record. And so I want to so the string data, I suppose, I initialize to an empty list. It feels fiddly. You can just do a map, but kind of you don't know about map yet. I think I might well, I'm sure the 13s know about it, but technically that's part of the spec we're not seeing yet, even with the 13s. Line is equal to the separator, and we're gonna do append s data, sorry, s underscore data dot append bracket record line. Right? So we have data, which is a big list of smaller lists that contain that each smaller list is a record that contain fields. The elements of the list are the fields. We have we have the name of the school as the first field in the record, and then a series of scores. Although you'll notice that because we didn't string empty, no, sorry, we have they are integers, which means they will probably need casted as well. That's interesting. Let's see if we can run it up until the breakpoint and see if it breaks, because I don't know technically. It might cast before joining. That would make sense. Enter and save. A with 1, 2, 3. Stop. I should have. And then B with 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop. Boom. Interesting. Except yeah. Type error. So this is a type error this time, in that casting, when you cast to a string, it's a type, doesn't matter. But this was expecting it does tell you, right? It's expecting a string and it found an int. So, okay, for recording data, just my picture that's glued to my wall. It's a nice, like stylized photograph of one of a cat of mine, former cat of mine. Can we see on the thing? So I'm just holding it forever because I'm waiting for the delay on the feed I'm monitoring. Anyway, foster cat, I into it. Whatever. Just I should do those earlier in the day because I'm just a bit tired. I can see. What we want to be doing is that record is the whole line, right? But then inside record, some of them are ins. So what the thing is, we can recast a string to a string, right? So I'm using map. Okay, let's just simulate a little bit of this in the Python console, which I should be able to find. Well, let's launch it then. Okay, let's say I have my record and it's school, and then there's like numbers, right? 2 and 0 and 20. Right. Now, if I do quote, comma, quote, dot, join R, bracket R, that's not going to work because line item 1 is this first one, expected element. Now if I do map, if I do SR for string record is equal to, I'm going to map str onto the list R. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's a map. Yeah, okay, fine. Right, map. Oh, but that's not going to work as well. Okay, print SR. Not very helpful. So map is done just in time. Eval. So it's not the eval I was hoping for. SR is a map. Right, let's cast it to a list explicitly. This will force Python to evaluate it and navigate this as a whole, right? In fact, I don't need SR is still right. I've done list SR, but I've not stored this into a variable, which means now I can quote, comma, quote, dot join, bracket SR, and this. Interesting. Python join, string join method. Yeah, I should know that. My separator join my dict. Use the word test separator. It will try. I've just. Oh, fine. Another online Python interpreter. Could you not just show me a screenshot of where the output? This I'm pretty sure this does like. Oh, it's on tuple. What is rebels? But all return values are strings. That's the problem we're having. So that's what I'm gonna. My view is to map it to the thing. Okay. Am I going crazy here? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Okay. Join something. There's like a list made of A and then B. Close bracket. Right? And gives me AB. Right. So why would that not work with SR then? Okay, list of SR? Oh, SR is what's happened to SR? It's gone away. That's the problem. Okay, do it again. R, yeah. SR equal map. So a mapping string. Map means apply the first argument is a function name, and you apply this function to all of the elements in the second argument, which is a list. In our case, R. So SR is equal to map of string to SR. SR is a map, but I can evaluate it as a list by forcing the evaluation by casting it to a list. Now, when SR still did that work? Which one did it become the empty list? Why? So it's interesting when I do list SR, then this kind of just gets rid of the map object. That's why I was okay. So SR. So I can't look into it because then it makes it go away. So SR is the map. And then can I join, please? Please, please, please. Join. This should... Yes! Right! This is what we wanted. And there's no, like, trading leading spaces. There's no new line character because that's going to be written... It's actually right lines that takes care of that. So, what was I doing? We map string to... We map string to record. Yeah, and we join it. And we append that to the line for each of the recording data. So we now have a string data list of strings, and then we f is equal to open file name, comma in write mode. So every time it's not even append, right? Every time you open up the program and go into enter and save, it creates a brand new file, but with the same name, because why not? And then f dot write lines of the s underscore data. And what's your problem here? It's file underscore name. Yeah. And then, does it tell me you've opened something? Yeah, I'm not using, no, I know, but they're, they're 16-year-old. I'm not gonna impose context handlers on them. They are very elegant, but they're tricky to wrap your head around. Like a lot of very elegant stuff, it's kind of almost a definition of it. Right, so I think I've got it pretty much running. Okay, so load and display. So I still get Beaujolais and stuff, right? One. School name is Action Acrimonious Acrimony Academy. I like this. Acrimony Academy. School name and they're so acrimonious they don't score well in their games. 04, let's see if that works. 90, gonna get ignored. 20, gonna be right, and stop to stop. And then I have foo central. Oh, I need to set the number of 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1 equal 1. Stop. Right, so it's probably written to the file, I want to say. Okay, it's written, but it didn't put the line breaks. So I think that's going to come out a bit broken the other end. Load and display. Yeah, okay, I've got a line break problem now. So right lines. Yeah, because I just need the empty, sorry, the new line character at the end of the line. So simply line plus. It feels a bit icky to have do something kind of like manually. I mean, I don't know if it's going to feel icky to my students because I don't think they, well, I don't know that they can be expected to have developed a sense of what good practices are, but I don't like that I've had to add a new line by hand. I think that because it's right lines plural, well, okay, fair enough. This is how it works. I'm not gonna. Who am I to question it? So if I run it again, now they should really have, those instructions should actually really have some tests so that you can know what you're doing. This way it's kind of probably specified as well. Enter and save. A school A 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. School B. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. And then load and display. Boom. And I've got, okay, school A and school B. All right, so 1 hour and 10 minutes. This is where you would kind of turn off. I mean, you're probably kind of pausing this, rewinding and getting your stuff done, but we're looking pretty good. So I still have this little problem when I'm going to have a space. So I'm going to come on there for my to-do. Okay. Refactor choose to proc. Now, no exception. See, this is important actually. That's really the first one, right? So try. Except, so we're gonna catch literally everything because I'm not. Normally we just catch the type of exception you can kind of expect, like except on what you expect. But I'm not very conversant with native file exceptions of Python. So I'm just gonna accept. That's gonna catch all exceptions, and we're simply gonna print. And then we're going to return because that's going to take us out of the function, return, and because of what's going on here. Yeah, yes, you wouldn't use a bare accept, but I can accept exception, fine, I guess, if you want to be precious about it. And I'm pretty sure that because all of the actual exceptions we know, like type error, value error, those are two. Those are pretty much the two I know, I can never off the top of my head, because they all inherit the class exception. We're gonna, again, that's object-oriented programming, except they will be code like that by an except. I don't know how well, I can actually. So if I run the thing, I don't even have to have it running. Run it, go there, and then, well, let's delete it, fine. Boom. Yes, delete file. Let's see, now load and display. Error reading file. Excellent, so I'm going to enter some data, and it's going to be Action Academy, and 3, 2, 1, stop. Oh, that doesn't work because I put a little space before the stop. And then Hammond high, and it's another one. The scores don't really matter, do they? I can have it if I want. 90 is going to get ignored. 20. Stop. Right, and boom, it's created the data.csv right here, and I can now enter and save. No, I can now load and display the new data. but I still have this little line. And that's a display problem, right? Because clearly the data CSV is nice and neat, well formatted, so don't need to do any stripping of the white space. Certainly don't do any stripping on camera on an educational live stream. So our problem is not in enter, it's in load. And we've got lines of section ending space. How is that? Because of the end, right? Because the final record. For filled in records, I tested it's the last one. It's just, yeah. What I don't understand is like, this line is here as opposed to like here. Although I don't know where. Yeah, I'm gonna like empty print here, see if that helps my case. So load and display. Wow. I mean, what's happening? Okay. Right, that's much better. Although it's kind of a little bit space. I've got this gratuitous print. Not sure how to make that more elegant, but at least I don't have the thing. It's kind of nice. I could also tabulate, but okay, no, I'm not gonna kind of make the things line up. But it's possible to do it in text because before we had like graphical user interfaces, this is how you would do it. Handle the first field differently. Yes, let's do that. So in Python, I'm sure that if I get a list that is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for instance, I can get the tail of the list. The tail is anything but the first element by saying from 1 to the end of the list with the colon notation, and that's here. So I'm gonna pop some jags. Okay. Records against it's a Macklemore song. It's not even something I do like. It's just this was in a video game anyway. Okay, I'm gonna print. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna print school space. Well, not a space actually, because I don't need the space because the comma will want a space. Just like you get end as a keyword argument, that's what it's called. You also have sep for separator. Records bracket 0, the first element of records. For this school, and then I'm gonna yeah, that's a nice way to do it, and then print the scores on a separate line. Scores colon, and then I need a space before the first one, and that's gonna print off the score, and then it's gonna be in records 1 colon, and now boom, load and display. Yeah. And equal. I'm going to make an equal space. Well, you could do an equal empty string. That works too. Because I don't like the fact that it's put them on a new line. Okay, load and display data. Look at that. I got Hammond High, Action Academy. Now, let's, of course, put it 10. Let's try kind of a proper run. All right, let's go and let's ask ChatGPT for some made-up school names that are funny. With puns in them or something. Yeah, that's the password. It's dot. My passwords, actually, I'm very bad. I reuse passwords everywhere. They're all dot, 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 dot. Put them. Psh. Okay, let's maybe hide this because that's kind of slightly sensitive. Make up. Well, you make everything up, ChatGPT. I'm not even going to address you as a person. You are, generate. Yeah, that's good. Okay, a list of invented school names, each of which are funny, have a pun, are alliterative, use wordplay. I was going to say etc., but it's not like as a word it helps ChatGPT because it's got, you've not specified it more. you're trying to say use the words and infer the kind of stuff that I mean from the words that were before, which is what ChatGPT does all the time anyway. It's like ChatGPT is like, I've typed this thing, etc. What make it up? I mean, why are we using a BS engine for anything remotely serious? Like for real, for real. Use wordplay. Give me at least 10. Boom. Certainly, you know, 10 funny in funny school. All right, it's like, yeah, it's not very funny or funny, but I'll take it. So yeah, let's have it. Let's write it in, enter and save data, and it's gonna be okay. Smarty Pants Academy. 12, 34, 90, mistake. 9, 13, 12, minus 1, and stop. Comic Sans Elementary. It's gonna take forever. I did do stop. Oh, I did a space before the stop. All right. No. Fine. 1. See, I want to put some commas. To be honest, if you got the user to input stuff with commas, you're simpler to set them to file. Copy. Paste it in. Very good. Very happy. I get this very beautiful pun. Stop. Let's see if we can make a school without any scores. In terms of the cardinality of our constraint. Grammar giggles high. It's good because it's a full sentence. Indeed, grammar giggles highly, to be fair. 3, 5, 17, 14. There's few of them have got more than 10, haven't they? Stop. And mathematician, drama llama, science nerd, artistic antics, history hootenanny, geek chic. There's a slant, punderful. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful with a P. It doesn't work, ChatGPT. It doesn't work. 10, 10, 10, 10. Stop. Yeah, the math magics. Auto magic. Drama Llama Academy is all of the super successful at whatever score we're logging people, and the Science Nerd Institute, after all, best institutes, right? And 5, stop. And now it is the turn of the. So which one I'm going to leave out because I've got Smarty Pants twice. I think artistic. I think I'm going to leave that Punderful preparatory then. Okay, regenerate, by the way. Oh no, sorry. Well, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. 1, 3, 2, 76. I'm going to get in 15, 13. Stop. Let's see what. It's control like page down. Yeah. Those are even worse. They literally just chuckle very high. Yeah, you leaning into it a bit too much. Chat. If I may call you I forgot where I was. Let's put geek chic geek chic grammar school. They're very good, right? The geeks and the nerds will score high. Well, no, mind you, because if it's sports, stereotypes. That's harmful. This is very harmful. This is not true. I was talking. Actually, we were having a conversation with my colleagues of PE about how the kind of students that really gel with our respective subjects like computer science and physical education are natural enemies in the harsh ecosystem of high schools. Numbers, 3, 4, 2, 15, 14. I'm only doing left-hand numbers and then stop. Excellent. And then load and display. Right, we've got all of our scores of all of our schools displayed like this, and they have been stored like this. So now I'm going to quit my program. I need to do handle first field differently, which you have done. The leading space, we're getting rid of that. Very happy. I need to tidy up the thing a little bit more because this is going to be the solution when they submit. Enter and save. Ignore the curlies because we should use the context managers, but yes, and we've done this as well. So we're going to read comments anywhere. Mm, mm. A new line at the end of the file is generally good practice because the new line is actually at the end of the last line, right? So if all lines have a new line, the last line should also have a new line. It looks like it's in line 99 that's empty, but it is 98 lines, and the last one ends with a new line character. Refactoring to proc. Yes, let's do that actually. All right, so instead of load and display, we're going to have load. Load, which is going to do this and is going to data f line f close. I don't need to f close if I get a file error, to be honest, right? But yeah, f close, and here we simply return data. That's my first. It is that easy, right? Def display. We had load with display. Display takes in data, and then for line in data. A bit burpy. Now load and display doesn't exist anymore, but we can simply do display whatever has been returned by load. Right? Do we want to do an enter and save as well? I mean, clearly there's data, and here, that's the bit. That's the bit that we built, right? So this is the clear distinction actually. So like this is def store data, well, obviously store data, and then home hub. No, I'm not at the indent. Here we go. Def store, and then this is save. Actually, more like save. Save the data. Save. So data append record append. I need to watch my indentation. This is after we've done all of the school. Data now contains all the data, and then you return data. And I hope it's going to work. And now this is now just enter, right? Boom, and my enter and save becomes you save bracket whatever was returned by enter bracket. And now this is going to be egg on my face moment where I do some gratuitous debugging to really round it up to 2 hours because I get clearly nothing better to do. Yes, look at that. Dev display data. What have I done? Oh yeah, sure. Just Mr. Colin. Fair enough. Right. Yes. Load and display worked. Enter and saved. Just going to do A. It's going to ask for 10. This is so annoying. Stop. B. Stop. C. 10. 10. Stop. D 3 1 stop. E 2 stop. F 3 stop. G it's J at the 10th letter, isn't it? 4 stop. H stop. The school name is stop. Make it stop. Yeah, this is where I have my little config item to make that to school. 4 stop. Cool. Load and display. Look, it worked. So in conclusion, what we have done, because I'm going to need to take the live streaming and then make chapters, because I think it was quite segmented, which means I'm going to spend the next 88 minutes watching myself. Obviously, I'll fast forward probably less than that. So in less than an hour and a half, we have decomposed this rather mysterious, obscure, opaque brief into some degree of structured programming. In fact, the new version will have, read user and choice, we'd have enter and save separately, with the return of one coming into the other, same deal with load and display. It's a little bit gratuitous, right? But this is notionally how you would separate functionally, because one developer might be in charge of the display, another developer might be in charge of the reading from the files, so you'd separate it. And once we've done that, I've gone straight into the code, I've laid out my empty functions, within the function, as much as possible, I've used comments to actually sketch out what I'm going to be doing in English, and then I just have to fill in my sketch. And so we fill it in from the easier, not only following the more or less the user's journey, it's a slightly inferior journey to the hero's journey, but it is a journey nonetheless. So we start with the display, the user choice, bit of an exception handling for the value error for the input validation for type. Again, that should really be up here, right? If good input returns value as an int, crucially. We've started with load and display back when it was one function. Load is fairly straightforward. Display, I've jazzed it up with the kind of like, school, separate line, etc. What we've learned here is like the end, if anything. I'm not doing the file stuff. There's a separate video that's much shorter about this. Open, read lines, close, boom, right? Then this is where we got stuck in the enter and save. Enter needed loops within loops within loops, right? Because there's 10 school, and each of those can have any number of scores after the school name, and each of those needs to be validated so that we don't accept invalid input, meaning not only for value, but for type, or for actually value error, something that's not castable to an int. So this was like a little bit involved. I find this quite hairy. To figure out you break out a which loop and so on. And then if we know at the end we append the record to avoid the -1 bug that we saw. Again, we detected with breakpoints, right? This is how you dev. You could put some prints, but like try things bit by bit. Obviously, like don't kind of wait till you have the whole thing to test it all in one go. The reason decomposition and structured programming and modular programming is helpful is because then you can test just the modules. Ideally, you'd have in production, in the real world, you have automated testing, but in your case, it does mean that you can kind of focus just on one bit of the program. So that's why I created a dummy data. I created an example data.csv. This one is more dummy than the one I created, if anything, so that we had something to display. And then finally, so that was enter. That was fun. And save. Now this is where I get write and write lines. I do believe that well, yeah, there was like the whole thing with the join and then discovering map. Map uses the fact that str, which as a function, is also a thing because functions are first order objects, so you can rename it. Right, look, I'm going to give you an example. Python. Don't break my beautiful solution, surely. Let's run it and it's still working. Okay. So Py in the right window, Python, and I can do, let's say I'm going to do old print equal print. Now check this out. And I'm going to say print equal lambda. Yeah, I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to at def my print. My Google Assistant has decided that because they're listening to me all the time, I really didn't want you to be on. Is the chat blowing up? I can't see. Oh no, okay. Hi. Yeah, it's just that people have seen notification coming. My print. That's my print, right? Def my print. I can't type. Yeah, it's time to go. But anyway, then. Oh yeah, of course. Def my print string. You also need to do like. I think I wanna. There's like args, keywords args. Let's not. I think we can get away without the args, keywords args. And this is going to like print. I don't know, like this plus string, and that's my print. So if I do my print, I should have started with this, right? My print, hello world, comes out like this. Sorry, those are the three. It looks like those, but those are the three from my print. But now I'm going to do print equal my print. Oh, mind you, maybe recursively that's going to break. I don't know. I think because of the recursion, this might display infinite carets. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, so we've got too many. What I needed to do is def. I don't need to redo this line because it's a handle, I think. My print is equal. No, def my print star. No, s. Old print, forgive me. That's the one. We need this one. And I'm gonna make that 4 of those so we can see plus SS. Okay, okay. And then the print is no, we've done this already. That's right. Mm. Hi. Yeah, so that's still mapped to the old my print because it's not been garbage collected because this has a reference to it, my print. Without the brackets, right now I'm kind of talking about the function, saying this function becomes equal to that function. And then when I do print, and anything that you just print if you've imported my package, it's gonna print it with 4 greater than, greater than. So it's a silly example, but it's the point that like you can manipulate. That's why I always insist on the bracket, because if instead of this I do kind of like, well, okay, it's not a valid reason, but if I do this, right? If you do this will not break. Well, kind of. So it knows the parser has recognized that this is not the right type, but like technically this line is not the one with the wiggle because this line is valid. This has say the native built-in function input and just like kind of make sn3 equals to that same function. And that a lot of students forget when they just want to call something, but they kind of so focus, particularly if it's nested inside something else, where you're calling some int of input or whatever. That they forget that without the brackets another language will say, oh, what's this, like you're trying, if it's a function, like it will say I don't recognize this as a variable because no variable of that name exists, except in that instance without the bracket it works because you can refer to the function by name as well. So because functions, methods are first order objects and that you can manipulate them in the same way. This is all kind of the functional programming part of the specification. The example I teach, they use Haskell, but that's mostly as an illustration of like very, very basic stuff. I think it is much more fun to be had by using some of the functional programming features of Python, in that it's kind of like using the functional features, right? Like decorators and renaming and passing and maps and filters and map and filter, which are enfolds, accumulators, things like that. As opposed to kind of purely like stateless functional programming, which itself is also really interesting, but is a full trip that will take a couple of years to get there, or at least kind of a matter of months, half, not quite full time, but if you get like anyway. I think that's the end of the stream. Tune in whenever I next stream for whatever I'm next going to be streaming about. So I'm going to update the solution and make it available to my lovely, lovely students after submitting. Excellent. And you know what? I'm actually even going to put the link to this. Yeah, because why not? In the solution. And in fact, yeah, okay. And watch this being written live at here. Boom. Not feature equals share, just like your regular YouTube link. I have absolutely no shame in my self promotion, but if it gets the kids to spend a bit more time working and a little bit less time on scrolly heart, I'd be happy. So thank you for watching, and as I said, tune in next time where I'll be doing whatever I do next time. Are we done? Also, I can do an outro. I can get the open broadcast studio. Let's fade. And on that excellent, whatever. Goodbye.